Imagine your life is a grand construction, a palace made of stone and light, waiting for you to build it. But every day someone takes a brick from the construction site. It seems like nothing major, just one. And then another, and another, until one day you realize that nothing has been built. Your greatest projects remain in the realm of dreams, your energy dispersed, your strength drained, your will weakened. And it all started with a lie that sounded like freedom. Modern man has been taught that his power is his ability to acquire women, experiences, impulses, that his value is measured by the number of conquests, and his strength by the intensity of desire. It's no coincidence, it's a program. This is not your nature, it's a pattern that was implanted in you. The system knows one thing: a man who cannot control his impulses will never become a threat. He will be forever hungry. He can be fed with images, advertisements, desire and fear of loneliness, and he will keep coming back for more. Your life energy is not unlimited. You are not a machine. Every day when you succumb to unconscious impulses, whether they are erotic stimuli, endless browsing, seeking instant gratification, you give away part of your power. You're unaware of this loss because it's invisible, but you feel its effects: lack of focus, apathy, emptiness after joy. This is not depression, it's spiritual exhaustion, and it can be reversed. In the ancient world, a man was not only a conqueror, he was a creator, a priest, a philosopher. Sexual energy was not just pleasure, it was a source of strength that could be transformed into knowledge, art, transcendence. In Taoism it was called Jin, the essence of life. In Buddhism, fuel for enlightenment. In Christian monasticism, a fire to be tamed in order to ascend spiritually. Today, your energy is a commodity. It's not about morality, it's about power. If it gets you addicted to pleasure, you will never have the space to search for the truth. You will be too busy feeding your body to ask the question, who am I? Instead of building something lasting, you will constantly demolish yourself with impulses that momentarily soothe, but never satisfy. Your mind gets overloaded, your soul forgot, and your strength reduced to reactions to stimuli. Carl Jung recognized that sexuality is not just a biological drive, it's a symbol of energy that can be raised higher. He called it the function of transcendence, the process in which lower impulses are transformed into higher forms of expression. Art, symbolic thinking, spirituality. It's not about suppression, it's about direction. You are not wrong for desire. You are unaware that what you desire can be transformed. Think of life energy as water. You can pour it into the desert, and it will disappear. Or you can build a channel and water an entire kingdom. This is the practice of sublimation, not prohibition, but transformation. Eastern traditions, Western mystics, the greatest creators, they all knew this. Tesla, who slept 2 hours a day and never married. Newton, who lived in celibacy all his life and created the foundations of modern physics. They didn't run from energy, they directed it. True masculinity is not about the number of women you've conquered, but the ability to focus, to control yourself, and to shape the world with your own vision. A man who can remain silent, without seeking instant gratification, is unstoppable. Because he doesn't yield, he doesn't beg, he doesn't chase, he creates. And he attracts through presence, not need. Ask yourself, if you didn't give your energy to any external force for 30 days, what would you create? What idea would you develop? What part of yourself would you heal? What project would you accomplish? Your time has not yet passed, but you cannot keep living as if you have unlimited energy, because you don't. And that's why every decision becomes a spiritual practice. Your strength is within you. It's always been there, but they've taught you to give it away. It's no longer a matter of motivation. It's a matter of survival. If you don't learn to direct your energy, someone else will, and they will use it against you. You don't have to follow the crowd, but first, you need to break free from the hypnosis, because true freedom begins with stopping. We must ask ourselves the question that no one asks today: what is the true power of a man? It's not about power over others, not money, muscles or fame. These are echoes of power, imitations. True power is the ability to control yourself in a world that doesn't encourage you to do so. It's the awareness that within you is a source of energy so strong it can build an empire or destroy you, depending on who leads it. It's the ability to stop in the moment of impulse and say, not now, I have something greater to create. You're not supposed to be a hermit. You're supposed to be a man with a vision. A man who doesn't react to every stimulus. Who doesn't need the world to constantly reward him. Who can patiently, day by day, develop himself like a sculptor shaping hard stone. Because only such a man builds something lasting. A company that isn't based on greed, but on structure. A relationship that isn't dependency, but a spiritual exchange. A body that isn't a show, but a tool for action. A soul that doesn't beg for meaning, because it creates it. But how exactly can you reclaim this energy? It's not magic. It's practice.
Here are a few keys.
Morning silence. Start the day without stimuli. Be with yourself for 30 minutes. Cold water shocks the body, but sharpens the will. It's a symbol. I do not yield to comfort. Physical training without music. You learn to fight in silence. Writing. Every morning, write down your thoughts. Pour your mental energy onto paper. Temporary celibacy. 30 days without pornography, masturbation, or casual flirting.
It's not a punishment, it's an experiment.
Creative goal. Choose one project and take a step every day. Don't ask, do I feel like it? Ask, does this move me forward? With every day, with every decision, you regain a piece of yourself. When a man starts reclaiming his energy, something strange happens. At first, he feels emptiness, because for years, he filled himself with stimuli, and suddenly, they're gone. It's like a detox. But this emptiness is not death, it's birth. It's the end of the boy who sought immediate rewards, and the beginning of the warrior who builds the future. A warrior doesn't fight to win a woman, he fights to win himself.
He doesn't need hundreds of gazes.
One is enough, the one in the mirror. The ancients had symbols: fire, as the force of life; sword, as awareness of direction; cup, as the vessel of the soul; mountain, as the path inward. Today,
these symbols have been replaced by money without purpose, money without purpose, money without purpose, money without purpose. But you can restore them. You can carry fire within you, not to burn others, but to warm what you're building. So now, we return to you. I'm not asking who you are in the eyes of others. I'm asking what you do with your strength, when no one is watching. Do you waste it or transform it? The world doesn't need more men who want to conquer. The world needs men who can stop and create something that hasn't existed yet. Your life energy is your capital. It's not just biological strength, it's your fire, your potential, your legacy. You can burn it to ashes, or transform it into light, which will illuminate not only your path but the path of others. The choice is yours, but remember, every minute, every decision, is a voice, and your life is the sum of those voices. What will you choose? In a world that constantly distracts you, the loss of inner strength is almost inevitable. Every notification, every impulse, every chase for a new stimulus, is like a shot tearing apart your focus. A man's mind becomes a battlefield of chaos and energy, scattered like wind in an empty field. Jung called it libido dispersion, life energy flowing outward with no purpose, no contemplation, no depth, because this dispersion means not only the loss of power, but the loss of identity. When energy isn't focused, you can't grow, your ideas remain unfinished, your goals, unrealized. Scattered energy breeds frustration, a sense of being lost, and anger at oneself. This is the mental desert that many men call life. But there is an antidote to this: self-discipline. It's not shackles or punishment, it's an act of courage. It's a daily choice to close the door to the distracting forces of the world and direct your energy to what truly matters. It's not easy. It requires an inner struggle where your biggest opponent is yourself. Think of energy as fuel for your creativity and willpower. When you scatter it, your engines stall and you become passive. But when you conserve it and redirect it, you can move mountains. It's the difference between burning gasoline in an engine and wasting it on an uncontrolled fire. Great mystical traditions have always linked sexuality with spirituality, not to condemn it, but to transform it. Whether it's yoga, tantra, or Christian mystics, they all spoke of the need to awaken energy, not suppress it. It's a dance between acceptance and discipline, between body and spirit. There is no one recipe for all. Every man must find his own path. But one thing is certain: without consciously managing your energy, there will be no true growth. You can have knowledge, but without power, that knowledge is useless. You can have ambitions, but without energy, they will remain just dreams. This is an invitation to awakening, to see yourself not as a victim of circumstances,
but as the creator of your reality, to reject false freedom, which is slavery, and embrace true freedom, the freedom to choose, the freedom to master yourself. Now that you know what you're losing and what you can regain, the question is, are you ready for true transformation? Not the kind dictated by trends and the media, but the kind that arises from the depths of your being. Your power is not outside of you, it's within you, and it's waiting for you to awaken it. But there's something even deeper, something rarely talked about, because it requires brutal honesty. Your desires are not your own. Your goals, aspirations, ambitions, most of them are echoes of others' voices. Family, culture, media, friends, mentors, everyone except you. And that's why so many people get what they wanted, only to discover emptiness, because they fought for something that was never theirs. Stop now. Ask yourself a question that most will never dare to ask. What if everything I want was implanted in me? What if my dreams are a cage, not freedom? It's a difficult truth, but in it lies power, because only when you see the illusion can you begin to dismantle it. This is philosophical initiation, the moment when you stop being a victim of the world and become its conscious participant. You no longer react, you choose. You no longer dream, you wake up. And then there is silence, strange, unsettling silence, because when all the truths of others are rejected, nothing remains except you, your nakedness, your ignorance, your questions. And it is in this place, not in knowledge, but in ignorance, that authentic philosophy begins. It's not about the answers, it's about asking better questions, deeper, truer. Do you really want to know who you are, or do you just desire a new, more impressive identity? Do your values come from experience, or are they merely a passed-down social legacy? Is your sadness your true self, or just a consequence of living against yourself? Perhaps you are beginning to understand. Truth does not immediately set you free. First, it hurts. It's like a wound that has to open to cleanse itself of illusion. And this pain is not your enemy, it's your guide. It's a signal that something inside you is demanding awakening. When philosophers speak of catharsis, they don't mean a gentle purification. They speak of a crisis, of the breakdown of the old self, of the death of the egocentric dream that kept you in place. True freedom is not comfort. It's a desert that you must walk through barefoot. But if you endure, if you don't turn back, if you risk meeting your own shadow, then a miracle happens. You begin to create yourself anew, not as a mask, but as the truth. Not as a product, but as consciousness. Then the word philosophy stops being an abstraction. It becomes a way of life. So now I ask you, are you ready to forsake comfortable lies for brutal truth? Do you have the courage to not know in order to truly understand? Can you remove from yourself what you are not, even if for a moment you will be empty? Because maybe that emptiness is not a lack, but the birthplace of your authentic self. Do not fear this emptiness. Philosophy does not offer shelter. It takes away all illusions, so that you can finally look at yourself without a mirror. And then, true freedom begins. But now, let's look at something that at first glance may seem trivial. Loneliness. In a culture of noise, instant communication, scrolling, and constantly immersing ourselves in stimuli, loneliness has become something almost shameful, something that needs to be quickly covered with entertainment, company, or notifications. But for the philosopher, loneliness is a tool. It's a threshold that must be crossed in order to truly hear one's thoughts. And what you will hear may be brutal, it may be terrifying, but it will be true. Arthur Schopenhauer believed that intelligent people seek loneliness, not out of misanthropy, but because they find peace there, a space without compromise where they can nurture their independence of thought. Because truly your own thoughts cannot arise in a crowd. And here comes something even more fundamental, the question of consciousness. Not the automatic, everyday one, but the deep, painful consciousness of existence. Sartre said that we are condemned to be free, and in this freedom, the hell of responsibility awakens. Because if everything is a choice, even silence, then every action, and even its absence, says something, and it cannot be shifted onto God, fate, or society. Even if the whole world lies, you must choose whether you want to live in that lie, or face the consequences of truth. And truth, it's not always liberation. Sometimes it's a verdict. Now let's stop and reflect on suffering, a topic that everyone avoids, but that everyone knows. Friedrich Nietzsche said that he who has a why can endure almost any how, but most people today have no why. That's why every how breaks them. It's not about glorifying suffering, It's about the fact that it can be a passage, an alchemical process that burns away the artificial and leaves what's true. In a world where everything is instant, suffering reminds us that transformation has its price, that pain is not a flaw in the system, it's part of it. So I ask you, how do you endure your pain? Do you run from it? Do you anesthetize yourself with entertainment? Or do you let it transform you? It's here, in this decision, that the difference between the victim and the philosopher is born, between the broken man and the conscious man. And finally, let's return to energy. Not the physical one, but the life energy. Vitalis. Jung would call it libido, but not in the strictly sexual sense, only as the psychic force that moves the entire soul. A man who doesn't know where to direct his energy becomes a victim of other people's instincts. His body craves things his soul doesn't want, and vice versa. His soul longs for something his body will never experience. This dichotomy is felt by anyone who has tried to live normally, working, loving, functioning, but deep inside feeling that all of this is only half a life. That's why philosophy, true, non-academic philosophy, is not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's the only way to synchronize the body, soul, and consciousness. Otherwise you drift, living someone else's script. So here's the challenge. Stop being afraid of loneliness. Stop being afraid of suffering. Stop running from yourself. Because somewhere under all of this, beneath the layers of defenses, masks, fear, and ego, is you. Not the you that others see, but the true you, who remembers why you came here, and who never stops whispering to you. The question is, are you ready to hear it? But there's one more thing we haven't said loudly enough. Something that everyone feels but few have the courage to name. Freedom hurts. Not when it's taken away, but when it's given. When you no longer have anyone to blame for your life. When you can no longer say it's the system, it's my parents, it's the circumstances. Because suddenly you see that you had a choice, and that you ignored it. Freedom is not just an opportunity, it's also an accusation. A mirror that shows your neglect, your passivity, your comfortable blindness. That's why so many people choose slavery under the guise of realism, or common sense. That's why the philosopher Søren Kierkegaard spoke of the dizziness of freedom. Because when a person stands at the edge of total responsibility for their own existence, the world begins to spin. One can turn back, one can close their eyes, or one can jump. A leap of faith, a leap into oneself. But what is this self that we are supposed to jump into? It's not the ego, it's not the image we build on Instagram. It's not the voice of your mother in your head or the judgment of a teacher. This is what Carl Jung called the process of individuation, a painful, irreversible march toward becoming yourself. But to achieve this, you have to descend into the basement of your own soul. You have to meet your shadow. It's there that everything you don't want to know about yourself resides. Your jealousy, your cruelty, your desire for dominance, seduction, escape, your pride and your shame. Humiliations. The ones you couldn't bear. So you pushed them from your memory. But they are there. And until you see them, they will control you. Jung made it clear. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. That's why so many people feel stuck, like they're living someone else's life, like something is wrong, but they can't say what. Because their freedom is not real, it's just decoration. Freedom is not about choosing between Pepsi and Coke, between studying marketing and studying law. It's not choosing the color of the walls in prison. True freedom is the choice of whether you want to continue living the way you have been. It's the freedom to reject and to create anew, but it hurts. Because every real yes means millions of no's. If you choose to be yourself, you won't be accepted by everyone. Some will leave you, some will mock you, others will be afraid of you, and many will try to bring you back to your place. Because your freedom will be a threat to them. You will be a reminder to them that they also have a choice, and that they didn't take it. So they will hate you, or worship you, but they will rarely understand you. And still, you must keep going. Because if you don't do it, no one will do it for you. There's no guarantee of success. There's no certainty. But there is something greater than safety. There is meaning. And meaning doesn't come from the outside. It can't be bought or inherited. Meaning appears when something inside you says, "This is why I'm here," and then everything changes. Not because the world has become easier, but because you stopped running. And here's the most important paradox. A truly free person doesn't need to be free. They don't have to shout about independence. They don't have to prove anything to anyone, because they are no longer a prisoner of other people's opinions, other people's desires, other people's fears. They are just themselves, and that's enough.